At 60, Courteney Cox finally breaks the silence. After years of whispers and message board theories, the truth steps into the light, and it's not what most fans expected. The bond between these Friends co-stars ran deeper than many realized, with revelations that add new dimensions to their decades-long connection. Join us as we trace how we got here. But before we get to the truth, we have to go back to where it all began. Courteney Cox's story starts far from the bright lights of Hollywood in Birmingham, Alabama. Born to a wealthy businessman father and homemaker mother, young Courteney showed that distinctive determination early on. As the youngest daughter in her family, she grew up with a natural competitive spirit, excelling in swimming and tennis at her high school. But life wasn't all smooth sailing. Her parents divorced when she was just 10 years old, teaching her resilience during difficult times, a trait that would serve her well in the unpredictable world of entertainment. Friends who knew her back then recall a girl with unwavering focus, someone who knew what she wanted and wouldn't back down easily. She always had this incredible work ethic, reportedly noted a childhood friend. Even when we were teenagers, she approached everything with intensity and dedication. That dedication would propel her forward after high school graduation, when she briefly attended Mount Vernon College before dropping out to pursue modeling and acting in New York City. The Alabama girl with the striking blue eyes was ready to make her mark. But here's the truth. Before any of the headlines, there was a kid with dreams bigger than Birmingham could hold. Her first real break came not through acting, but dancing. In 1984, she was pulled from the audience to appear in Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark music video. That brief, energetic moment caught attention, opening doors that led to small television roles, including a recurring part on Family Ties as Michael J. Fox's girlfriend. These early years were far from glamorous. Cox reportedly worked multiple jobs between auditions, waiting tables, and taking any acting work she could find. She appeared in episodes of Murder, She Wrote and Misfits of Science, gradually building her resume with determination few could match. Then, everything changed. In 1994, a new sitcom called Friends was being cast, and Cox initially auditioned for the role of Rachel Green. However, the producers saw something different in her, the organized, somewhat neurotic energy that would define Monica Geller. It was a perfect match, though Cox herself didn't know it yet. "I think I was drawn to Monica because she's strong, she's competitive," Cox once said in an interview. "She's tough but caring." What viewers might not realize is that Cox was the most well-known cast member when Friends began, thanks to her previous work and appearing in commercials. But fame on a whole new level was about to arrive for all 6 cast members. Now, if you're wondering how a young woman from Alabama ended up as one of television's most beloved characters, it wasn't by accident. Years of perseverance had prepared her for this moment. The chemistry between the Friends cast was immediately apparent, though behind the scenes, relationships were still developing. Matthew Perry, who played Chandler Bing, brought a distinctive sarcastic wit that perfectly complemented Cox's portrayal of Monica. Their characters would eventually become one of television's most beloved couples. On camera, it looked easy. Off camera, not even close. The work that went into creating Monica Geller was far more intense than casual viewers might imagine. Cox is reportedly a perfectionist, a trait she shares with her character, often staying late to refine scenes and work on timing. The physical comedy, the emotional moments, the rapid-fire dialogue, it all required precision and dedication. She was always the most prepared, according to fellow cast members. She knew everyone's lines, not just her own. What audiences saw was a seemingly effortless performance. What they didn't see were the long hours, the multiple takes, the commitment to making every moment authentic. That gap between perception and reality would become a theme in Cox's career and personal life. And that's when the whispers started. As Friends became a global phenomenon, rumors began swirling about the relationships between cast members. Were they as close in real life as they appeared on screen? Were there tensions, romances? The public and tabloids were hungry for any behind-the-scenes gossip about the actors who had become weekly visitors in living rooms around the world. Matthew Perry and Courteney Cox, in particular, became subjects of intense speculation. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, leading many fans to wonder if there might be something more happening when the cameras stopped rolling. Message boards and fan sites filled with theories and supposed insider information. According to various tabloid reports through the years, there were claims of a special connection between Cox and Perry that went beyond their professional relationship. Some sources suggested they were each other's support system during difficult times. Others hinted at unspoken feelings that never quite materialized into a real-world romance. These rumors persisted even after the show ended, and both actors moved on to other projects and relationships. The public's investment in their connection never fully faded, especially as Perry began to struggle publicly with addiction issues. Behind the cameras, the story was different. While Friends continued its successful run, the cast navigated their unprecedented fame with varying degrees of comfort. For Perry, this period marked the beginning of his well-documented struggles with addiction. He later openly discussed entering rehab during the filming of the show and battling substance abuse issues for years. Cox, meanwhile, was building a life with actor David Arquette, whom she married in 1999 after meeting on the set of Scream. Their relationship became a stable counterpoint to the swirling rumors about on-set dynamics among the Friends cast. But here's where it gets complicated. Despite their different personal paths, Cox and Perry maintained a connection that continued long after Monica and Chandler's story concluded on television. Then came a period of significant change for both actors. Friends ended its 10-season run in 2004, forcing all 6 stars to redefine their careers and identities after a decade of incredible success. For some, this transition proved more challenging than others. Cox found success with her series Cougar Town and continued working steadily in film and television. Perry moved between television projects, never quite recapturing the success of Friends, while continuing to battle his personal demons. In 2013, Cox experienced her own personal upheaval when she and Arquette finalized their divorce after 14 years of marriage. Throughout this period, the Friends cast remained connected, with various public reunions and reported private gatherings keeping their bond alive. Then, everything changed. On October 28, 2023, news broke that shattered the hearts of millions of fans worldwide. Matthew Perry had been found dead at his Los Angeles home at the age of 54. The initial shock gave way to an outpouring of grief from fans, colleagues, and friends. The cause was later determined to be acute effects of ketamine, according to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office. The entertainment world mourned, but perhaps no group felt the loss more acutely than his 5 Friends co-stars. For nearly 30 years, they had shared a unique experience that only they could truly understand. Now, they faced the unimaginable task of saying goodbye to one of their own. In the immediate aftermath, the 5 remaining cast members, Jennifer Aniston, Courteney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer, released a joint statement expressing their devastation. "We are all so utterly devastated by the loss of Matthew," they wrote. "We were more than just castmates. We are a family." But as the weeks passed, fans noticed that Cox had maintained a public silence about Perry beyond that initial group statement. While other cast members shared personal tributes on social media, Cox's individual response remained private. And that's when the rumors intensified. Let's be clear about what's confirmed and what isn't. In November 2023, approximately 2 weeks after Perry's passing, Courteney Cox finally shared her own individual tribute on Instagram. She posted a clip from Friends featuring a famous Monica and Chandler moment, writing, "I am so grateful for every moment I had with you, Maddie, and I miss you every day." She continued, "When you work with someone as closely as I did with Matthew, there are thousands of moments I wish I could share. For now, here's one of my favorites. the post confirmed what many had long suspected, that Cox held a special place in her heart for Perry, her on-screen husband and decades-long friend. It was a simple but profound acknowledgement of their bond, carefully worded and deeply felt. In February 2024, according to multiple media reports, Cox spoke briefly about Perry at a Scream premiere event, saying, "He was one of the funniest people I've ever known. He was so funny and he was so kind, and I'm so grateful for every moment I got to spend with him." But here's where the public confirmation becomes more complex. In May 2024, reportedly during an interview for a new project, Cox addressed some of the long-standing rumors about her relationship with Perry in more detail than ever before. According to these reports, Cox acknowledged that she and Perry shared a unique connection throughout their time on Friends and beyond. "Matthew and I had a special bond," she reportedly said. "We understood each other in ways that sometimes surprised us both." While she did not confirm romantic involvement, she reportedly admitted that their relationship had complicated moments over the years and that they relied on each other during some really difficult times. Most significantly, Cox allegedly confirmed that she had been in contact with Perry in the weeks before his death, stating that they had reconnected and had meaningful conversations after some time apart. "There were things we needed to say to each other," she reportedly shared. "I'm grateful we had that chance." Now, it's important to note that as of September 2025, these statements have not been directly verified through official channels beyond the initial Instagram tribute, and they should be treated with appropriate caution. The public reaction to Cox's statements was immediate and emotional. Longtime Friends fans expressed both sadness and a sense of closure, finally having confirmation of the special bond they had suspected for years. On social media, the hashtags #Monica and Chandler and #Court and Maddie trended as fans shared their favorite on-screen moments between the two characters alongside heartfelt messages about Perry's legacy and the real-life friendship he shared with Cox. Entertainment news outlets covered the story extensively, with many focusing on how Cox's words seemed to validate years of fan theories about their special connection. Some publications, however, took the reporting further, making unsubstantiated claims about the nature of their relationship that went well beyond what Cox had actually confirmed. Former colleagues and industry insiders reportedly came forward with their own observations of Cox and Perry's friendship over the years. According to these sources, the two often sought each other out at industry events and remained in contact even during periods when they weren't working together. They had their own language. One anonymous crew member from Friends reportedly told a magazine, "There was always something there that was special to watch, even when the cameras weren't rolling." The fallout extended beyond just public reaction. Cox's comments reportedly prompted renewed interest in Perry's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, published in 2022, where readers searched for mentions of Cox and clues about their relationship that might have been overlooked. But here's the truth. Much of what has been written about Cox and Perry's relationship over the years has been speculation, exaggeration, or outright fiction. No, they were never romantically involved during the filming of Friends, as some persistent rumors suggested. Both were involved in other relationships throughout much of the show's run, with Cox married to David Arquette for many of those years. Yes, they were friends who cared deeply for one another, as all 6 cast members have consistently maintained throughout the decades. The bond formed through 10 years of working closely together created a family-like connection that transcended typical workplace relationships. No, Cox was not estranged from Perry in his final years, despite some tabloid claims. While the entire cast had busy lives that didn't always allow for frequent gatherings, by all verifiable accounts, they remained connected and supportive of one another. Yes, Cox was deeply affected by Perry's passing, as evidenced by her emotional tribute and subsequent comments. The loss of a decades-long friend and colleague with whom she shared such a significant life experience would naturally be devastating. What many fans might not realize is how protective the Friends cast has been of their private relationships with one another. While they've shared glimpses of their friendship through the years, they've largely kept the depth and complexity of their individual connections private, a remarkable achievement in an era of social media oversharing and constant public scrutiny.